This is Copilots, the podcast where we watch not just the first episode of the show,
but also the second. Some shows just don't have the best pilot episode, and giving it that second chance might just sway your mind.
Here, we take that chance for you and let you know our opinions on if it deserves more than that one shot.
I'm Justice. Alongside me is my co-pilot Josh. Now get ready for takeoff. Your in-flight entertainment this week will be
R.L. Stine's The Haunted.
Are you happy? You gotta say the title again.
I did get to say the title again. We're going to start with Episode 1, Really You, Part 1.
Yes. Much like our last episode, this is another series that is just anthologies of things.
And based off the works of the great R.L. Stine.
As we mentioned last time, the man who has shaped many parts of many people's childhoods.
And this one's much newer than Goosebumps. Goosebumps was like 97?
Yeah, Goosebumps was from the 90s.
1997, I believe.
I don't know, I just know the 90s. I don't question more than that. I think it was 95, actually.
95 or 96. This one, though, is much more recent.
2009.
2010, yo.
Whatever.
October 29th, 2010 was the debut episode, and it ran for just over 4 years, ending in November of 2014.
They actually ended on the 29th of November.
Yes, it did. You got that part right. So, this show opens up with a street that is computer generated.
Yeah, we are kind of floating above the top of a street. And
houses that are computer generated.
It has some nice kind of creepy building music. It's meant to be suspenseful, you know.
The music's good. It has a bit of spoopiness to it, but unfortunately,
it's not that original.
And it's not the Goosebumps intro.
That Goosebumps intro is fantastic.
This
This one's not bad, but the other one is fantastic.
Like, the intros themselves, they're both kind of a little lame.
The visuals alongside them, yeah.
But the music for Goosebumps was just spectacular.
So this one, we're just like floating over the street. We go into like pass over an overturned bike, go into like a house through a window. There's like a weird misty shape in there. We see some red eyes appear on the screen.
Yeah, the red eyes are under a bed.
Yep, and then they poof into smoke, and we're basically just done with the intro.
Yep, we zoom in on that pair of eyes, and that's the end of the intro. Before we actually get started...
Eyes are creepy, yo.
I do want to say, it is October 22nd, 2020.
That it is.
And that means we missed it last episode because it was October 2nd. But this is October 22nd. That means it's 2 weeks now, 2 weeks exactly past the birthday of one R.L. Stine. So,
yes.
Even though you're probably never going to listen to this, thank you.
Happy belated birthday.
And happy belated birthday. Anyways, the episode proper opens on a shelf of baby dolls.
It does.
And it continues to pan over not just dolls, but doll parts.
Yeah, and it's not just baby dolls, actually. It's dolls in general.
Fair.
Just because they don't have a hair doesn't mean they're immediately baby dolls. They're
That's
just like
exactly
doll heads
Nope.
that you put hair on later.
Nope. Any doll with no hair is a baby.
I don't know if that's how that works.
But as we're panning through shots of dolls and doll pieces, we get the opening credits of the show. Cast involved, so on and so forth. And
we see a person holding a doll's head. We only see their hands holding it, though.
Yeah, we don't actually get to see this person. But she's holding a doll head, and she throws it away, and she says something.
She says, look, see, she's not good. Something like that. And she throws it to the side. Literally takes the doll and throws it to the side. And then we get this slow transition from this scene into our scene with our actual characters. And the doll head is laying on its side, and our camera slowly zooms into its face. And as it does that, it slowly transitions the scene, fading into another one, and the face of the doll is lined up with the face of this young girl.
Yep. We are now in a kitchen / dining / living room area. It's all open concept housing.
For the most part, yeah.
And there is a daughter, a son, a mother, and a father.
Yes.
You're a stereotypical nuclear family with 2.5 children. Well, just 2 children right now.
The 0.5 will show up in a bit.
And the daughter here is worried because someone or something is late to arrive. She's bugging her mom and dad to call the current guardians of whatever this is.
Yeah. check on the computer, do whatever. The mother is working on her laptop. The father is building the vanity, and the son, actually, we don't see yet.
He's just off screen.
Yeah, he's off screen. He's there,
Yeah.
but he's like just off screen.
So the daughter tries to get her mother to check a website for whatever is running late. And then when her mom doesn't do it, she almost spills coffee on her mom's computer, completely by accident, mind you.
Yeah.
And the brother asks the father if they're going to keep getting her more stuff, because apparently all they do is buy her things.
Yeah.
And
I would like to point out that I immediately noticed, and it made me happy, that the brother is played by Connor Price, who plays Kenny, I think his last name is Fisher, from Being Human, the U.S. version of Being Human.
Do you mean the single greatest vampire TV show to have ever been made?
Dude, I fucking love Being Human.
I will fight any of you that think Vampire Diaries, Buffy, True Blood, any of that is better than Being Human, because you're wrong.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. So this isn't a review for Being Human, but a quick review on Being Human. It's fantastic. Go watch it.
It's so good. It's like 4 seasons.
Yeah. Watch the U.S. version. The U.K. version's pretty good. I've seen it, but I prefer the U.S. version.
What are you doing with your life that is more important than watching Being Human right now?
It's not fucking this. Stop listening to this. Go watch Being Human.
Listening to this podcast is not more important than Being Human.
Yeah. Okay, now that I've done that, I guess we can go back to talking about The Haunting Hour.
Also, please don't stop listening to our podcast. You could pause, watch Being Human, and come back.
Yeah. Come back. That'd be preferable, I guess.
Come back. Even if you think we were wrong and that Being Human isn't as good as we just hyped it up to be, come back, and while you're listening to us talk about this,
send us a strongly worded email.
Yeah.
Telling us we're wrong. Join our Discord. Tell us we're wrong there. Follow us on Twitter. Tell us we're wrong there.
Yeah, engage with us.
Tell us we're wrong everywhere.
This isn't a trap. I promise we're not just doing this because anger feeds the algorithms.
Shh, don't let them know that.
Anyways, brother asks if they're going to keep buying more stuff for her, and her dad's like, well, it's important to her. She's had trouble making friends.
Yeah.
Which we'll find out in the next episode is complete bullshit. She has a decent amount of friends for her.
So,
how old do you think she is?
I think... I don't fucking know.
I'm so bad at guessing children age, especially when they're actors, because I'm thinking she's supposed to be like 9 or 8.
I was thinking like 10.
We're in the ballpark.
I mean, I have no idea if it's right.
We could Google it.
No, not worth it.
Okay.
So, yeah, she wants more stuff, and their mother is saying that they can't afford it. And she fucking tells her mother to finance it.
And her dad's just impressed. He's like, yeah, that's a good idea.
She's smart.
No, she's spoiled.
Yeah.
Oh, we also learn her name and the son's name in this scene.
Yeah, but do I have to know her name? Because in my notes, I just have her labeled as Brat.
Her name is Lily.
Brat.
And her brother's name is Brandon.
I mean, you mean Kenny?
No, Brandon. Kenny's Being Human. You're confusing the two.
I just wanted other things. So, while she's trying to talk her mother into financing options so she can buy more stuff, her brother is just like washing a bowl at a sink or something.
And he's like, why don't you guys make her do anything? Like,
while she's waiting, at least, like, have her clean her room so she can learn responsibility, time management, impulse control.
And the dad is just like, Brandon, stop it.
But out of this.
The mom, she doesn't say anything, but you can see that she's on board. She's like, yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. Why the fuck aren't we doing anything right now? Anyways, Brandon gets scolded by his father, so he's just like, peace, bitches, I'm out.
Yeah, he's going up. He like leaves probably to, I think, head up to his room.
Yeah, he goes up the stairs.
As the general teenage response, and he's just like, at least so we can prove that this family hasn't produced a monster.
Yeah. So, I've got some first impressions of the family so far.
Yeah.
The brother is the only person here that's down to earth and grounded.
Agreed.
The daughter is a spoiled little bitch.
I have her labeled as Brat throughout my stuff, yes.
That's a harsh language to use, but you haven't watched the episode yet. The mother just seems like she's worn out by her daughter. Like, she seems like she used to be the voice of reason, but like...
has just given up because her daughter and her fucking husband...
because her husband enables their daughter. Like, he doesn't say no to her.
Yeah. I mean, if you're paying attention, that vanity that they're assembling is for her. That vanity table.
I didn't put that together, but yeah.
It's white, And then when we go to her room, she has a new white desk with a built-in vanity mirror on it.
Yep. So, as Brandon leaves the kitchen, there's a car horn that honks outside, and Lily screams, "They're here, they're here."
Yeah, so we see, like, an older vehicle pull up, and it appears to be a delivery car van thing.
Yeah, it's an old-fashioned white car, and it has a pink logo painted on the door that says...
If we knew cars, we'd probably tell you what type, but we don't know cars.
We don't. And it has a logo painted on the door that says, "Really you."
Yes.
The driver of the car gets out, opens the back door, and a woman named Allison climbs out and immediately introduces herself.
Yeah, she says she's the temporary guardian.
And then we're introduced to that 0.5 child from earlier, Lily D.
It's a life-size, one-for-one replica of the girl Lily. What the fuck? Who the fuck? Why the fuck?
This is literally insane. And her brother's in the background of this scene, and he's like, "Jesus fucking Christ, why is this a thing? Why are we doing it?" And you know...
He makes a lot of good fucking points. A lot.
Yeah. So Allison then immediately starts trying to upsell them. She's like, "So, when we deliver the Really You dolls, most customers...
She never calls them customers. She always refers to them as the girls.
Most girls tend to want to get their hair and nails done with their
at the Really You Center.
At the Really You Center with their new friend.
So they can bond.
So that they can bond. And the mom's like, "Okay, but how much is that going to cost?"
It's only an extra $229.
But it includes the limo ride
And the framed photo pack.
It is hair and nails for 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
And a limo ride. This car isn't a limo. I don't know cars, but this isn't a fucking limo.
This is not a limo, no.
And a picture package. A frame picture package.
Yeah.
And frame pictures, like, those can get expensive.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
So, really...
Sure, one of the people they're doing hairs and nails for is a doll that they just made, which implies you have not finished your fucking job, right?
Yeah. But, I mean, like, if you step back and look at it like they're looking at it, in quotation marks...
Yeah.
It's a hella good deal. You're paying like $115 a person for hair, nails, and a limo ride, plus free pictures.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, so Brandon in the background looks rightly annoyed and disgusted with the idea.
We did miss something from the interior scene before they came out. When Lily was trying to get their mother to buy more stuff for her mom was like, "That's it. We don't have the money."
Yeah,
like,
which is why she was told to finance it.
Yeah. And so the mom was like, "We can't do $229. It's too much."
And then, of course...
Pushover dad is like, "Yeah, we can."
Yeah, because his daughter basically just comes and goes, "Please."
And he's like, "Well, it's an experience. How often do you get to be a kid?"
And then...
Can I just tell you what my notes are right here?
Yeah, go ahead.
When he says that, I have typed the following words. "I hope this effing doll kills him."
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping it would kind of kill everyone but Brandon. So, he agrees, and Allison, the temporary guardian, lets us know Mom gets to go too.
Gets should be in quotations here too, because Mom was obviously trying to get work done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what she was doing before Lily, like, rudely interrupted and took over the laptop. And
Yeah.
so Mom also looks annoyed here. She's like, "Jesus Christ, we don't need to spend $230 on this, and I definitely don't need to be doing this instead of working."
Which is going to get us that money for that $230 we're about to fucking waste.
So, they get in the car, the limo,
Yep.
and Allison's like, "Lily D brought you a present, Lily."
Uh-huh.
It's a letter.
Lily D is what the Guardian is calling the duplicate Lily.
It's Lily doll.
Or Lily duplicate.
It's a Lily doll.
Fuck you, duplicate.
But, no, that's her name. That's
No, I know. It's in my fucking notes.
The present that Lily D brought for the real Lily is a letter.
Yep.
And this is the most, like, evil spell, shitty fortune cookie kind of shit ever.
Yep.
It says, "You'll never find a friend as true as the one that's really you."
Yep. Oh my god, such a beautiful gift and envelope. It's almost like it's the fucking catchphrase of your fucking company. It's on your fucking website.
It's not even signed like it's from Lily D or anything.
No,
like,
it's
they put no effort.
It's just printed on some shitty cardstock, and it's like, look, here's a gift for you. And it's like, you've just like attached a tag equivocally to this gift that is your company motto and phrase. Yeah.
Look, your multi-$100 doll you bought comes with a free advertisement.
What? Oh man, I love advertisements. Thank you, my doll that looks exactly like me that I'm not at all creeped out by.
We get to the Lily U Center, and this is the worst kind of place. It's just children, namely little girls, running around screaming with dolls of varying sizes.
Everywhere. And one of the first things we hear when we enter the scene is, no fair, she got the deluxe package, and they're talking about Lily.
Which means most people don't do this?
Yes. Which I am at least fucking thankful for. I assume most of it's like the American Girl dolls, like, still ridiculously expensive, and I don't understand spending that much on a doll. But also, I can't judge people. I've spent that much on nerdy shit, so, like, if it's something you're like, fine, I don't care. I would never buy a life-size version of myself, though.
I would buy life-size versions of other people.
I used the word myself, though.
Anyways, yeah, they're like, no fair, she got the deluxe package, and Lily is instantly like, oh, look, they're jealous of me. Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah.
Except she said, like, they're jealous of us because she's already, like...
attached
herself to this fucking doll.
Mm-hmm. So... her hair is being done by a stylist.
And Allison is continually trying to upsell them.
Yes, what I love, though, is the stylist next to her doing the doll's hair is, like, half-assing it as fuck.
Yeah, because she's doing a doll's hair.
She's doing a doll's hair. She's just like, yay.
She's probably making minimum wage, while the woman next to her is, like, a licensed stylist is making, like, 2 to 3 times minimum wage.
No.
100%.
No. That's not the way this company operates.
Oh, you're right.
Neither of these
Everybody makes minimum wage.
Everyone makes minimum wage, and neither of these are licensed stylists.
Except Allison is definitely getting, like, a commission on all the upsells.
Oh, she's commissioned on everything,
Yeah. Because she's like, so...
We've been working with telecommunication companies.
Which, as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, so this episode arc is going to be about, like, first we're going to make the doll able to talk, and, like, we're just going to keep making the doll more and more lifelike until it replaces the daughter.
Yeah.
That's what I thought this arc was. It's not. That's not what this arc is.
Yeah, no.
But
they've just been working with telecommunication companies so that they can get the doll a real phone that matches the phone that Lily has and has its own number. You wanna know who else can fucking do that? The parents. The parents can do that, and I guarantee you they aren't gonna fucking upcharge you like this company's about to.
No, but the best part is they're like, with a working cell phone and its own number. And
which, so you want to make everything about this doll match? You've kind of failed at this point, right? You're getting its own number. Why aren't my calls rerouting to this doll's phone?
Why aren't we just duping my sim?
Like, yeah, exactly. That's what we should be doing, right?
And we should just put D at the end of everybody's name in her phone.
Yeah. So, of course, the motherfucking says no.
She's like,
oh my fucking god, like, that's a horrible fucking idea.
That's ridiculous. And then Lily's like, I bet Daddy would do it. And Allison's like, yeah, Daddy would probably do it.
She smiles and nods like, yeah. I should have brought him instead. I could make him buy this entire fucking store.
It's insane. This father is...
Yeah.
So
he's the type of guy, he goes to a car dealership and fucking leaves with like 2 to 3 cars.
And he wasn't even going there to buy a car.
He just needed a tire change.
You know, he was going there to get like a trade-in quote for his because he was looking at like upgrading. But like he didn't even trade his car in. He just bought 3 new ones.
I don't know. I feel like he was going in for a tire change on like rotation.
Oh, Jesus.
And ended up leaving with 3 new cars.
So anyways, we cut back to the house and Brendan and his friend Josh Anyways, we come back to the house, and Brandon and his friend Josh are standing in Lily's doorway, staring dumbfounded by the Lily D doll.
Which is sitting at that new white table, which I think may have been made, like, purchased and put there specifically for the fucking doll, because whenever it's in Lily's room, and it's not in bed, it's sitting there.
Yep. Also, Lily D has her own bed.
Yeah.
Because we cut to Lily's going to bed, and Lily D is laying in her own bed.
Yeah.
Next to Lily's.
Well, before that, though, Brandon and Josh's conversation, it's mainly Josh talking about how weird dolls are and how he used to blood them up all the time with M80s. But this doll would take more than a few M80s to blow up. It'd probably take dynamite. Josh is creeped out by dolls. Not this Josh. Show Josh.
So then we cut to a scene where Lily is in a room with her friends.
Three friends sitting on a bed.
You know, those friends she had so much trouble making. She has 3 of them.
Yep.
But her 3 friends have, normal dolls because...
Yeah. So they don't look like weird, freaking obsessed, narcissistic pieces of shit.
And Lily is being an elitist cunt.
She's talking about how Lily has anything that Lily has, Lily D has. Clothes, bed.
Mm-hmm.
And she's getting a nightclub set for her soon.
One of her friends is like, sometimes me and my doll sing karaoke together. And Lily is like, yeah, well, we're getting a nightclub set and it comes with a real microphone. It's just on back order right now.
Mm-hmm. And I think actually when she does that, she flips some of her hair back in that classic I'm too good for you Mean Girls-esque style.
Yeah. One of her friends then is like, well, I might be getting a real you for my birthday.
Yeah.
But not the furniture and stuff. That'd be too expensive. And Lily's like, oh, that would be weird.
Yeah. And then I think it's the same girl goes on, well, I think my grandparents might get me that. And Lily's all like, that doesn't sound right. They didn't ever get you anything good.
The exact quote is, I don't know. They don't seem to get you very much good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to murder this child.
Yeah. So while she's bashing on 2 of her friends, the third one creeps up while she's not paying attention and puts her doll next to Lily D's head.
And she's like, oh, hey, Lily D told my doll...
No.
Oh.
First, Lily freaks the fuck out because someone is close to her doll.
Oh, yeah.
What are you doing? And then...
And she's like, Lily D told my doll a secret. And Lily's like, what? And then her friend, because Lily's being a complete and absolute utter shit, her friend's like...
It's a secret. I can't tell you.
And she's like, well, Lily D said she doesn't like you.
Yeah. Before that, though, Lily blows up at being told it's a secret, so she can't be told, it's my house. You don't get to have secrets.
This whole scene ends with Lily destroying her friend's doll because...
Oh, yeah, she just rips the leg off her friend's doll.
Afterwards, her mother comes up to scold Lily after all of her friends leave.
Yeah.
And her mom decides that Lily needs a timeout from Lily D. And she takes the life-size replica doll away.
Which Lily is, trying to get the inanimate object to affirm that it loves her.
Yes, she's yelling at it about loving her.
Mm-hmm.
This girl has...
So when her mom takes the doll and shuts the door, Lily rages and just swipes all kinds of shit from her desk onto the ground, and we hear stuff shatter.
Mm-hmm.
And... yeah, we see the brother, Brandon, just staring at this whole interaction from his doorway. And then we see the mom taking the doll, setting it down at the desk in her room, which is the same style desk, just from brown.
Mm-hmm.
Saying it's pretty and well behaved, hugs the doll, and then we see the doll put its hand on her mother's arm.
Yeah, the doll brings her arm up and caresses Lily's mom's arm.
Yep.
And the next time we see Lily's mom, she's browsing the online store for new things to buy for Lily D.
Who is sitting with her at the table.
Mm-hmm. So they were all there for breakfast. I think
Yeah.
It might have been a different meal, but they had gravy and biscuits and orange juice. So I think breakfast. But they're all sitting there for breakfast, including Lily D.
Yeah, which when Brandon comes down, he asks why the doll's there, and the mother says, "The doll's not here for Lily. Lily D's my guest." And Brandon's response is just, "This family needs counseling."
Yes. But they eat their breakfast and they're cleaning up, and the mom goes in the kitchen to wipe dishes down. The dad follows because he's talking to her.
Brandon goes to answer a door because we hear it.
Yeah, because his friend Josh is here.
Yeah. A thing that precludes to what's about to happen, though. Lily does get in another argument with her mother because she's asking her dad if she can have the doll back, and Lily's mom says not for a week.
Oh, yeah.
After that, we'll see, maybe.
Yeah. And then after everybody leaves the table and it's just Lily and Lily D, we hear Lily shriek, and when we come back, there's a white liquidy stuff spilled all over the computer.
Which, it's supposed to be the gravy.
They call it gravy, but...
So, it's really, really, really runny gravy. Like, someone has not thickened this up at all.
Maybe they like runny gravy.
It's so runny. So runny.
Obviously, Lily says that she's not the one that spilled it, that Lily D did, but Lily D's a doll, so Lily gets punished for it. Because
her mom blows up because her daughter apparently just destroyed her laptop.
Her work laptop.
Yes.
Yep. After that, later that night, Brandon confronts his sister about destroying...
No. Here's the moment that confirms to me that Brandon is the best character.
Okay.
He turns to his friend Josh and goes, "Can I live with you?" And Josh is just like, "You wouldn't like him." And then his friend, who just showed up, turns and immediately leaves the fucking house. He's like, "I just got here. Shit's going down. I'm out. Sorry. Never mind."
So later that night, Brandon confronts his sister about destroying the laptop. And she's like, "Nah, dude. It was the doll. I saw it do it." And she holds to that story and, like, cries. And, like, he ends up going to his parents' room. He's like, we
cut to the parents.
Yeah.
And the parents are talking. The mom's talking about how this is all kind of the father's fault because he's spoiled Lily so much.
That's like, it was probably just, I think it was just an accident.
Yeah.
And she's like, "I'm glad you think it was an accident."
Yeah. And he explains the reason why he's spoiled her daughter because he doesn't like to see her unhappy. All the while having this conversation, the mother is putting the doll in their bed.
Yes.
And tucking it in and petting his hair and
the
stuff.
dad's like, "That's not going to sleep with us, is it?" And she just gives him a stare.
And then Brendan comes in.
Yep, and he's like, "Guys, I'm legitimately worried about Lily. She actually thinks the doll did this. Even if the doll didn't do it, we should probably get rid of the doll just for her sanity."
Yeah.
And the mother's like, "We spent too much money on the doll. I'm going to keep it."
Sunk cost fallacy!
Middle of the night, Brandon wakes up to some noises in the hall.
Yep.
And we see the doll sitting in the hallway. And then there's a jump scare where the dad appears basically out of nowhere. And he explains to Brandon that he's returning the doll to Lily. And that Brandon needs to go back to bed.
Yep.
So he puts the doll back into its bed, which is like not a toy bed because it's big enough to fit an actual 9-year-old.
Yeah.
And then he leaves and the doll stands up.
And just stands over Lily.
Like a creepy, creepy doll.
And then it's the next morning, and the doll's back in bed with the parents.
Facing the father, who assumes...
And it's smiling now, actually.
Yeah, and the father just assumes that his wife found out that Lily D was missing in the middle of the night, went and got it, put it back in the bed.
Yeah.
Then we cut downstairs to where the mother is fixing food.
She's making French toast.
And she gives everybody a plate, including Lily D, except for her actual daughter, the actual person, Lily, and actually gives Lily D actual food.
Yeah. Brandon calls his mom out on being obsessed with the doll.
Dude, I have a question.
Actually,
2 days ago, she was worried about their money expenditure.
Yeah, and now she's giving food to a fucking doll.
Yeah.
But yeah, Brandon says, he doesn't actually say she's obsessed with the doll. He says that she's obsessed with it. Mm-hmm. The mother turns and, like, with venom in her voice.
She's not an it. She's a she.
No, she's a her.
Yeah, she's a her, my bad.
Yeah.
Who knew we were going to throw gender pronouns in it?
Yeah.
Show about dolls.
So then we get Dad coming in, and he's just like, "My business, it goes well. My vague business work. I do business stuff.
Business stuff. Denver for business stuff. We'll be home Sunday. Business, bye.
I do business.
I love business, Dad.
All business dads are best dads. And vague business dads.
So the father leaves for a business meeting, and Lily and Brandon go to school. They come home, and Brandon's in his room playing video games with Josh.
Yeah.
And...
Well, it's supposed to be this tense moment, because Lily comes in and she hears all these weird noises.
Yeah. And Brandon's like, "Oh yeah, Mom said you're still grounded from Lily D. Don't go looking for it. I fixed nachos. They're in the microwave. Heat them up if you want them."
That interaction takes a bit longer than necessary because he's playing video games online with friends, and people constantly misunderstand him because he's still on mic.
The best part is when he's like, I left them in the kitchen for you. Just heat them up if you need them. And somebody over the mic's like, "What?" And he's like, "No, I was talking to my sister." And then he's like, "They're in the kitchen. They're in the kitchen." And then the guy's like, "The nachos?" And he's like, "No, the zombies."
Yeah. It's actually kind of amusing.
it's actually good, like, filler script writing. I was down for it.
Yeah.
It was funny.
So Lily leaves, and she doesn't go to get the nachos because I guess she has her priorities wrong. She goes to find the doll.
Yep, she goes looking for the doll.
You clearly go get the nachos while they're still good and warm.
We're given a bunch of fake-out jump scares here. She never finds the doll.
Though, as she finally leaves the room, giving up the search for the doll, we see the doll's feet pop up from behind a curtain.
Yeah, it was hiding from her.
Yeah.
So she goes downstairs, fixes her
No. She goes back to Josh's room to ask if he's seen the doll.
Ask if the mom took it.
If the mom took the doll. And then we see the doll walk behind her through the hallway.
Yeah, it's in the back of the hallway, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of important, strictly because it's the first time we see the doll like fully perambulate rather than just standing up. It is capable of walking, and it's actually walking smoothly and sneakily.
Yep. So then Lily goes downstairs to get the nachos. She falls asleep while eating the nachos because she has no priorities in life.
Yeah, I mean, you finished the nachos first. If she hadn't wasted her time searching for her doll, she would have finished the nachos.
Yep. So then her mom comes home with some groceries, and Lily D's asleep at the table.
With black paint all over her hands.
And she wakes up when her mom comes in.
Yes.
And her mom's like, "Oh, have you been painting?" And Lily's like, "No, I have no idea what this shit is. I don't know what's going on." And her mom was like, "Well, did you leave Lily D alone?" Something along those lines. And Lily's like, "No, you hit her." And the mom's like, "No, she's sitting at my desk
in my room."
And Lily's like, "Nah, I checked." And
mom's like, "You went in my room?" It's like
such a bait of a conversation. Like
I told you I didn't fucking mess with the doll, and I thought you hid it, which means I clearly fucking checked for it. What is the point of rehashing this part of the conversation?
So then her mom goes upstairs to her room,
screams
to find
and yells
Lily
for Lily to come upstairs.
Yeah, and on the wall next to the desk, painted in black paint, like the black paint on Lily's hands, are the words "Bad Girl."
On the wall, there are like fingerprints above it and below it, which implies it was all done with hands. Mm-hmm. But those are some really straight fucking lines for it all to have been done with hands.
Yeah.
Because there are like no extremely discernible streaks or fingerprints in the words, only a bit above and below.
The episode ends with the mother freaking out and Brandon telling Josh that he's going to prove that the doll is not alive.
Oh, yeah, because Josh is there because they were playing video games. He's just like, "Do you think the doll's actually alive?" Because his friend Josh seems insistent on the fact that the doll is actually alive.
So, that's the end of episode 1?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
The acting is actually quite good.
Yeah, I recognize the girl playing Lily. I don't know what I recognize her from.
She's done a lot of movies. I think she's been in some Adam Sandler movies. I think she's one of Jennifer Aniston's children in one of the movies that he's done. I think she does. I think she's the one that does that shitty British accent in one of them. Because she wants to do a British accent. I don't know. Just go with it, I think. I think she's the daughter and just go with it, whatever. But the camera work is good too, and the music fits in well with it. So, on all the technical points, the show's actually really good. The overall execution is enjoyable. Really, for me, it's just I'm not a huge fan of the whole kind of overdone story of doll comes to life.
Yeah, it's a little lame.
Other than that, it's definitely been well executed and it's definitely watchable. It's a decent way to pass the time. Like, even this episode, if it was just on in the background, I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to actively seek like this episode out. But it's not bad.
Yeah, the show is vastly superior to its predecessor, Goosebumps.
Other than the opening music?
In every way other than the intro music. The effects, the budget, the camera work, the acting are all multiple steps up.
Is to be expected. It is quite a number of years later. So
yeah, almost 15 years. Lily Caldwell is Bailey Madison.
Am I right? Is she in Just Go With It?
She is in Bridge to Terabithia. Just Go With It.
She's the youngest.
Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. The Strangers.
I don't care. I was right. She was in Just Go With It. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, you were right.
Cool. So, what are your thoughts, my friend?
Well, like I said, definitely a step up on Goosebumps. The show does a really good job of like painting Lily as a truly despicable, hateable child at the beginning of the episode, but by the end of the episode, making it where like we kind of feel for her because she's being gaslit by a doll.
I mean, I don't, but that might just be because I watched a horror movie earlier in the week that just makes me want kind of most children to die.
What was that movie?
It was The Lodge.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah. It's just everything bad in that movie that's happening to the people in the movie is brought on by two fucking children who feel the need to make a person with psychological trauma relive that trauma and fucking gaslight her. They decided,
like a doll's gaslighting a 9-year-old?
They decided, let's gaslight our father's girlfriend. So, gaslighting someone is despicable.
Yep. I think it's actually a really, strong indication of how good the writers are in the show.
Oh, yeah.
That they took it from a person that I literally couldn't stand to a person that I'm like, damn.
That sucks.
In 23 minutes.
Yeah, that's very true. And by the end of the next episode, I'm definitely there with you. I'm just slower to turn on that because my mind's just sitting here thinking.
Oh, I can't wait to get to my recap of the family and their growth at the end of episode 2 because spoiler alert, everybody grows except the father. I still wish the doll had killed him.
Yeah. So episode 2.
Really, you?
Part 2.
Episode 2 starts with a recap.
Yeah.
Followed by that lame CG intro again.
Mm-hmm. And then it's Lily crying to Brandon. No, Lily is just crying and Brandon goes to talk to
he
her.
knocks on the door and comes in and he's like, hey, you should just admit to painting on the wall. And she's like, but I didn't. Lily D did it. And he's
just like, the worst that happens if you admit to it is they'll make you see a therapist or a counselor or something.
Yep.
And she still insists, he's like, I'll prove it isn't alive.
And you brought up a great point while we were watching this.
I did, and it gets even better because the parents agreed that she should see a counselor or a
we'll
therapist.
Talk about it. We'll talk about it.
We'll get there.
And he's like, well, if you're not going to admit you didn't do it, I'm going to prove that Lily D can't move, and then you'll have no choice but to admit you did it.
So he does a dangerous thing. He sets up a camera in his parents' bedroom.
With an SD card in it. On the upside, his father is away.
That doesn't make this better. We don't know what his mother does. She clearly doesn't like her husband that much anymore.
On the upside, her husband is away doing business dad stuff, but Jesus, hiding a room watching your parents' bed seems
So as he's setting the camera
risky at best.
Yeah. So as he's setting the camera up, Lily's in there with him, and she's just like, "We shouldn't be doing this in front of the doll."
Yeah.
And he's just like, "It doesn't fucking matter. It's a doll."
So he sets up the camera with an SD card so that they can record the doll. And
we kind of just progress tonight where we see the mother and the doll in bed.
Yep, and we're seeing this all from the camera's perspective now. And we see Lily D stand up out of bed.
No. She has to do the horror sit up first.
Sit up.
And all of a sudden just...
And then stand up. She leaves camera frame and then comes back into camera frame. And then the video goes all staticky.
I just gotta say, this doll has serious range of motion for having fixed joints because... She comes from the side, just sliding in, which does not work with the way her joints are made.
I mean, she also managed to, hit the eject for an SD card and then grab it and pull it out.
Yeah.
And so the SD card is just not in the camera in the morning when...
Brendan goes to check it.
And
he confronts his mother. He's like, the SD card's not there. Did you take it? And she's just like, you put a fucking camera in my room?
This is the most reasonable she's been since she got the doll.
Yeah. What is wrong with you?
And then Lily's, who's standing on the stairs, just kind of falls down, faints almost.
Oh, yeah. No. Before that, though, Brandon's response to his mother's actually righteous anger is, this family's been falling apart since that doll showed up. And I'm just like, you did not make things better, man. I've been on your side for all of this, but your last action did not make this better.
So Lily falls, and Brandon's like, hey,
yeah.
She needs to go to the hospital. She needs to go to the doctors. And her mom's like,
kind of just stares at her for a moment,
she kind of looks at the doll, and she's like, but, I mean, there's my real daughter, right?
Yeah. She's a brat. Are we sure she's not faking it?
So...
None of that's said. It's all just conveyed in the look.
Yeah.
Very good acting.
So the mother takes the actual Lily to the doctors, and Brandon and Josh decide that they're going to take the doll apart to see if there's any computers or motors or anything in the doll.
So the next few scenes are flash between Lily and the doll. Lily at the doctors, the doll being taken apart. Actually a pretty nice cut in between because it goes back and forth, and normally that annoys me in a lot of things, but when it's well done, it actually makes sense.
I mean, yeah, there's a tie here between between the quote-unquote surgery Brandon and Josh are doing on the doll and the actual medical checkup going on with Lily.
Exactly.
The doctor's appointment with Lily doesn't really go anywhere. The doctor's just like, I don't see anything wrong with her. Rest.
She's a bit stiff. She looks tired.
Let her rest. Let her watch some TV. Stay home from school.
We do learn that
Finger guns.
she has like a mole on her neck that's a birthmark, which the doctor seems suspicious of, and like he just glances at it. I'm like, if you're suspicious of like a mole, my friend, you are a doctor. Should you not be looking at this and be like, okay, so what we need to do is check its borders, make sure it doesn't change because
maybe biopsy.
Yeah, stiffness, tired. You look extremely drained. We might want to do a biopsy of this.
Skin cancer.
Yeah, his first response is, that doesn't look right. Oh, it's a birthmark. Okay, whatever. You're a doctor. If it doesn't look right, do your job. Evaluate said mole or whatever.
Yep. Brandon and Josh, though, find some writing on the back of the doll's head. They have to kind of rub some pain away.
Oh, yeah.
And it reveals the words, destroy this doll.
Yeah.
So Brandon and his friend put the doll back together.
Not well. The head is clearly not pushed all the way onto the base.
And they leave. Yes. We don't really know where they're going just yet. But after they leave, the doll reaches up and puts its head back on because...
Honestly, with the doll in this one, you should probably fix your head.
Yeah. Brandon's just going to get in more trouble if his mom comes home and the doll's head is off. Yeah.
The doll actually saved him trouble. Which it shouldn't have. He's her biggest enemy.
Yeah. So we find out that they're going to Really You, but Really You is closed.
Yes.
So...
They decide to sneak in.
Yep. A janitor leaves the building taking the garbage out. They catch the door and sneak into the building.
Yeah.
So then they get to a computer at the front desk and they're like, let's go look through the files of Really You, see what's going on. But they keep getting chased further into the building because they keep hearing somebody move towards them and they're like...
Yeah. Farther. So they sneak into the back room. Then from the back room they find another door. And this door is covered with like, authorized personnel only, warning, keep out, danger ahead. You know, just all the generic, this is a room you're not supposed to go in signs.
Yep, so they find themselves in the workshop from the very first scene of the first episode.
Which looks kind of like an older house.
Mm-hmm. And they're trying to hide here because somebody was following them.
Yes. And
then a woman enters the stair from the door that they just entered. And...
So they're hiding behind a shelf.
But she eventually discovers them.
Yeah, she's going to grab a doll head, that way she can build something.
A little bit of comedy here where she accidentally grabs Brandon's head.
And pulls on his hair, and she's like, I don't think that's the one I want. All the while they're freaked out, though, because she was holding a small handsaw in her hand.
I kind of thought she was blind.
The way she was acting at it, too, because she's not even looking at them.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just kind of looking straight ahead, and she's like pulling on, and all of it's based on like tactile sensation of what she's doing to get the doll head,
So after she discovers the Brandon and his friend... She starts freaking out. She thinks they're with the company.
Which I think she actually might be slightly blind because...
Yeah.
Until they point out how young they are and she moves her face closer.
She puts on her glasses, yeah.
Yeah.
This woman is the doll maker. She apparently made the first Real You dolls. And eventually her husband talked her into selling the company.
And they bought it. And they...
Apparently buying the company...
He bought her house?
Yeah, so they tore down her house.
And built this... store on top of it, this store in the middle of like an entire shopping business district from what we saw from the establishing street area.
Mm-hmm.
And then the alley shut, like there are no houses nearby.
Yeah, no. And now she just lives in the basement of what used to be her house.
Yeah. And the first thing they're just like, oh, it's fine, don't worry. And then they're just like, here's all these doll orders you have to fill. They're making this one woman fill all of the doll orders.
Which is insane.
Especially because this seems extremely popular.
I don't believe it. Like...
Neither do I.
So they start asking about the doll with the destroy this doll on the back of the head, and she's like,
oh, that doll has a bad soul, and they're like, what?
She's like, all dolls have souls.
Some of them are shy. Some of them are sweet.
Didn't you know all dolls have souls?
Yeah.
All dogs go to heaven. All dolls have souls.
Yeah. So she's just going on how some dolls are sweet, some dolls are shy, some are blah blah blah.
But all of the dolls are content to be dolls.
Except Lily's doll. Lily's doll doesn't want to be a doll. Which is why she destroyed this doll on the back. She was going to do it herself, but the company said they would handle it.
Yep. She advises that they destroy her and ends the scene by telling them that she's a bad girl.
Yeah. And then she sends them out the window in the basement.
Yep. Back at the house, Lily and her mother get home from the doctors. And her mom and dad are talking on the phone about sending Lily to see a therapist because...
Or a counselor.
If you don't believe the doll is alive, Lily's been acting out just a little bit.
Yeah. But what I love is, one of the first things they're probably going to be told to do just in general, is get rid of the doll. Your daughter's problems seem to have been exacerbated by the presence of said doll.
Oh, let's see. You got your daughter a doll.
And she appears to be acting out when the doll is around.
You got your daughter a doll.
That looks exactly like her.
That's not going to traumatize her in any way, shape, or form. And then you took away the doll that looks exactly like her
Have been treating
from
it,
her.
And have been treating it as if it's your daughter. And she's been acting out.
Hey, probably, yeah. So,
You know, I'm not sure your daughter is the one that needs counseling here. She's clearly just seeking your attention. Which, from what you've told me beforehand of her habits before this doll appeared, she has received the vast majority of your attention. You are now instead focusing on a doll. So she's been acting out in a retaliatory fashion. That makes sense. Get rid of the fucking doll. Be a fucking grown-up.
So,
is that hard to do?
Then her mom hands her the phone and is like, your dad wants to talk to you. He obviously tells her that she's going to start seeing a therapist because she starts crying and breaking down at the table.
And she's like, okay,
And
I'll try to be better.
After she hangs up the phone, she looks at her mom and she's like, Mom, I'm going to try and be a nicer person. And then she goes up to her room.
Yes, and the moment she gets to her room, we see the Lily doll, which was left in their parents' room.
Holding a hammer.
Yes, and it is in Lily's room, holding a hammer, and then just breaks the mirror on the vanity.
Lily screams. Her mom comes running up the stairs and is like, what the fuck you just do? You said you were going to be a better person, and now you're breaking your own mirror. Yeah. What is this? And honestly...
Her extremely sick daughter, who just collapsed, apparently, in the span of
15, 20 seconds.
Yeah, after getting up the stairs, managed to drag human-sized doll to her room, which this is a doll we've never seen their child pick up or really move. You have arm stuff, because I assume the doll weighs at least 30 pounds.
It's hollow, but yeah.
No, it has stuffing. Because...
No, they said it's hollow when they were taking it apart.
I would assume it has stuffing from the way it sits.
I don't know.
And the way the other dolls are all made. Whatever. But we've never seen her move this doll by herself. And it implies in the 15 to 20 seconds she found the doll, moved the doll to her room.
Set it up.
Yeah, set it up. Also found a hammer.
Broke her own mirror. Screamed.
And staged herself standing looking at it all.
Yep. I don't want to say her... honestly, what's her mom supposed to believe, though, right? That a doll did this?
Yeah.
Logically, there's an issue. So she immediately blames Lily. I have to ask how Lily did this. Because the exact reasons we were just talking about. But her mom grabs the Lily D doll and says to the doll, in front of her daughter, I wish you were my daughter, to the doll.
Yeah, it's great.
So Lily's foot becomes plastic at this point, and she falls down as her mother leaves the room. Her mom leaves as her daughter falls down on the ground, and her mom's just like...
Lily falls on the ground right after her mother shuts the door. But there's a thump, because someone just fell down.
Yeah, her mom is being a great mother right now.
Yeah.
So she crawls her way to her mom's room.
Literally. Oh, no, before that, though, so Lily falls running on a doll, and we cut to her mother, who turns on classical music extremely loudly so she can neglect her sick daughter.
Oh, yeah, 100%. She's like, I want to go take a bath, and...
Turn this music really, really up so I can't hear my sick daughter crying and asking me to come to her room and, begging me to come back.
Yep. So Lily crawls all the way to her mother's room with plastic legs, and as she's reaching to grab the bathroom door handle, her hand turns to plastic.
Yep. And then the Lily doll is standing above her.
And just as Lily herself turns fully plastic, the doll explains to Lily, and the doll becomes a real girl.
Yeah.
The doll just Pinocchio's the whole ordeal. The doll explains to Lily that a mother will always love her daughter, but she can only like a doll.
And she can stop liking her daughter.
But she'll never love a doll. But now the doll is her daughter. She already has her love, and now all she has to do is get her to like her.
Yep.
So...
we see Brendan and Josh come back. They are our intro into the next scene.
Yeah.
We follow them once they come inside into the kitchen where we see Lily has cleaned, made her mother a snack, and a cappuccino. And
done laundry.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then later in the week, maybe that night, I don't know, her business dad gets back from work.
He had a good business job on his good business trip. He did business well.
And even though he did business well, he couldn't feel happy about doing business well because he has to send his daughter to therapy because business doesn't do well. Business well? I don't know. There's too much business.
Yeah, I think we're getting too much business about this business.
Yeah, so...
Lily is making everyone supper.
And she serves it to them, and then She volunteers to clean the dishes.
Yeah.
And Brandon's like, what did the doll do to you?
What the fuck is going on?
And the doll's just like, I'm a better me now.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want me to be the worst me, would
well,
you?
No, because his first confrontation is at the table, and the parents are just like, Brandon, shut up. She's doing better. It's fine. We like her more like this. And Lily, the doll.
The actual daughter or the doll that's now...
The doll that is now the daughter.
Okay.
Is doing there, and she hugs her mom, and she's like, do you like me, Mommy? And the mother, like, hesitates a moment, and she's like, sure. And the doll next to her cries a tear. We see Lily walk over to the door and wipe it off before anyone can see it. And then she goes into the kitchen where Brandon confronts her.
Yeah, and Brandon's like, what did the doll do to you? Why are you acting so weird? And she's like, I'm just a better me now. You wouldn't want me to be the worst me, would you? While she's holding a cooking fork. And
holding is a weak word.
Brandishing.
Whilst brandishing.
A cooking fork and, like, threatening to kill her brother with said cooking fork.
Never overtly, though.
Never that overtly.
She's the good Lily, after all.
That night, Lily D throws the real Lily, who's now a doll,
Yeah.
into the trash. And the next day, we see Lily D and Brandon preparing for school.
Yes. And then we see Josh just standing by the trash can.
Well, yeah, but not yet. Hold on.
Fine.
Lily D hugs her mom, and her mom's like, you smell different.
Yeah.
And then Lily's like, do you love me?
Yeah, and her mom just goes, you should go to school.
You should go to school. Which pisses Lily D off.
Yeah.
Lily D storms out of the house, and then we see Josh standing by the trash can. He's just like...
His friend is just standing there by the trash can, and Brendan's like, what are you doing here? Oh, I want to see this thing get thrown away.
I want to see this thing get destroyed by the trash compactor. It needs to go away forever.
Yeah. And then Brandon's looking at it, and he's like, wait, why does the doll have my sister's birthmark?
Yep, and he draws his mother's attention to the doll's birthmark. The mother freaks out because there's no way the company could have known that she had that birthmark.
Yeah, they just got, like, her height and weight and face.
Yep, and then her mother smells the doll, and she's like, this smells like my daughter.
Yeah, and Brandon's like, that's because it is. That thing's a fake. And then he asks the Lily doll, which is now the daughter, to come over. The doll looks back, she's like, fuck, and runs.
The jig is up.
Yeah. So Brandon and Josh take off after her.
Mm-hmm.
And the mother pulls her daughter out of the trash and is just crying over this doll of her daughter.
Well, Josh and Brandon chase the doll that's now a person. The mother's love turns the doll that is the daughter back into a person.
Only after she admits that she loves her,
mm-hmm.
which she does after their father shows up and he's just like, what the fuck are you doing? You're crazy. Why are you crying about a doll? Where's our actual daughter at? And she's like, this is our actual daughter. He's like, nah, that's stupid.
And then the doll changes back into a real person.
And he doesn't comment on that. He's just like, oh. And then just hugs them. He's like, I don't know what's going on. This isn't business. I'm in over my head.
It's not business or the word yes. What do I do?
Yeah.
So, obviously, because Lily's back to being a person.
The doll is back to being a doll and falls down in the middle of the road.
Yep. And the garbage truck comes by, picks up the trash, and then while Josh, Lily, and Brandon are staring at the doll on the road, it sits up just in time to get hit by a garbage truck.
Yes. And then we see basically no resolution with his family, and we see an SUV driving along just to move us along the road, and then we just see these two girls walking down the street, and they come across a life-size doll.
The Lily D doll.
Yeah, and one's just like,
It's,
then they just
it's
argue
severely
over,
damaged, and like
its face is blackened, its clothes are a bit messed up, there's a bug on it.
Yeah.
Ooh. And the girls are just arguing over who gets to keep it,
when
and the doll grabs one of their legs, and they scream and run away.
And that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Do you want to lead with your conclusion, or should I?
I guess I can lead with mine. It's pretty much the same as the first. In overall terms, the show's actually good. The acting, the cinematography, the music, everything's well done. The writing, the storytelling. I'm just not a fan of the whole doll comes to life, takes over someone's life, kills people, whatever.
I missed one of my notes earlier.
What was your name?
Damn it. You know when her brother was playing video games?
Yeah.
There was a legit jump scare in that scene. Yeah, the air conditioning had recently kicked on in the apartment, and I had been in my room and left my door open, so while we're watching that scene, and right before the doll did its run in the background, my bedroom door slammed shut because of the air conditioning and the pressure, and like I was like, what?
Okay. But yeah, so overall, I think the show is well done. I'm just not a fan of the doll story.
So to interrupt your conclusion again, what I'm saying is immersive jump scares happen with this show. Or maybe it was just...
I think it was just you. I didn't even notice it. So, I think I would watch the show overall. Given its quality, I would watch it. More specifically, though, if I had the capability, which I do because obviously I control what I can watch, I'd watch whatever episodes sound interesting to me based on their premise. Because, well, the show is well done. I don't care about dolls. I don't find them creepy. I just find them kind of overdone.
Okay, cool. Before I dive into my conclusion, I want to hit on a couple things. This show is basically nowhere on the internet for free, unless you're pirating it.
Which we didn't do because we are respectable people.
2, if you just look for the Haunting Hour,
you are going to find the movie first.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
So, I ended up buying this on Amazon Prime. The first season's $10 or $2 an episode. I just bought the season. There's 20-something episodes. Second thing,
watch Being Human.
Yeah, second thing, watch Being Human. So, my take, like you said, the show is actually really good. So much so that I don't regret spending $10 to watch it. Like,
understandable. You've got like 18, 20 more episodes. I think it's somewhere between 20 to 24 episodes.
I think it was either 23 or 24.
Somewhere between 20 to 24 episodes. I stand by my statement.
And that said, I don't know when I'm going to get around to watching more of this. But just some of my conclusions on this. Lily, her brother, and her mom all grow as people in the show.
They do.
Like, her mother, she kind of felt crushed at the beginning of the first episode. Like, she's reignited in this now. Like, she seems to have rekindled herself.
Yeah, she was kind of, burned out with her family life, the way everything was going, the way her daughter acted.
The brother obviously, really didn't like his sister at the beginning of the series, and honestly,
I mean,
who can blame
made,
him?
A passive comment once or twice to her, like, what's wrong with you now? You used to be cuter, you used to be better, stuff like that.
And honestly, who can blame him?
No one.
But now he cares about his sister again, so that's cool.
Or he cares the same amount. He's just like, I guess as a brother, life or death situation. The next day, he just wakes up and she's like, goes to hug him or something. She's just like, no, doll's gone. Go be annoying somewhere else.
And the daughter seems to have legitimately grown as an individual as well. That said, the father has not grown the least bit.
No, because it wasn't business or saying yes. He doesn't know how to react to it.
I hope he does grow, like, in the future of this. Like, obviously there's no more episodes of this story arc.
I mean, there might be. The doll's still aware and still alive, not destroyed.
Her dad didn't really get the opportunity to grow because he was out of it for, like...
He was businessman doing business stuff on business trips in Business City, Denver.
But now, hopefully, that Lily has grown, like, and she won't actively be trying to get him to spoil her. He will have room to grow or room to get hit by the garbage truck like Lily D. But from a quality standpoint, the show was good. It's not amazing by any means. It's just good. Like,
it's watchable.
6.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's something I can see myself watching, especially because I spent $10 on it. But it's not something I can honestly recommend to others. Like,
if it was free, definitely much more watchable.
If it was free, or it was bundled in your Netflix or Hulu, or
it was just on.
Yeah, but as something that you'd have to buy,
it's middle of the road.
We live in an age where there's so many 10s on TV
and horror anthologies
that we don't need to settle for these 6.5s. So
once again, it kind of falls in that road of this one in a better quality of, and because it's newer, you got a kid that likes horror stuff or creepy stuff. This is a good fit for them. It's not over the top.
Yeah.
It once again works for children, which kind of makes sense given that it's an R.L. Stine creation and most of his work throughout his literary career has been aimed at children.
Yep. That's my take. I think it's good, not great.
Terrify some children with it.
If you have access to it, feel free to watch it. I wouldn't pay for it. That's it.
That's a lie. He would. He did.
Well, yes, but I also got an hour of content out of this.
True. Fine, you win this round. Anyways, though.
If you want to email us because you disagree and think Being Human is actually better than the best vampire series and is just transcendent and is the best series on television, so you disagree with us and need to tell us that, you can email us at copilotsreview@gmail.com.
You can tweet us at copilotsreview.
Or you can find either of those links at copilotsreview.simplecast.com.
Tell us how wrong we are.
There's also a Discord. You can come join, give us show suggestions.
Ask us questions for when we do our interstitial stuff on the 12th.
There's a channel there just for discussing new episodes of this show, and a channel there for suggesting new shows for us to watch, and now a channel for you to tell us how wrong we are about Being Human.
We'll make it.
I'm literally going to make it before I publish this episode.
Yeah, why not?
Anyways, thank you for flying with us, and I want to wish you all a happy Halloween. And again, belated happy birthday to our Stine.